Gloucestershire moved a huge step closer to a home tie in the quarter-finals of the NatWest T20 Blast after hammering Essex by 30 runs in front of a full house at Cheltenham. Batting first after losing the toss, Gloucestershire made an excellent start, with Hamish Marshall soon making the most of the short boundaries at this picturesque setting. The outfield was quick, and even after only the first 6 overs of power play, in which Gloucestershire scored 59 without loss, you just knew that they were set for a big total. The magnificent Michael Klinger yet again played his part in an opening stand of 75, which was made in the first 8.5 overs. The foundations had already been set. Marshall was the only wicket to fall after easing to a 28-ball 43, Ravi Bopara with a simple return catch, about the only thing the Essex captain had to smile about all day. While Ian Cobain settled in, Klinger took up the reins in taking his team to a score of 83 for 1 halfway through their 20 overs. And things really started to move forward once Cobain went after Ashar Zaidi, the first 6 of the day coming in over number 13. Klinger's remarkable form continued as he made it to the 50 mark again, his 8th boundary taking him there off his 40th delivery. At times the Australian run machine makes batting look like the easiest thing in the world. He is an extraordinary cricketer, and now, along with Cobain, these two lead the run-scoring charts this summer. It was Cobain who at times here looked even better than his skipper. The push was now on to try to motor towards the finish line of the innings. One of the real strengths of this team is how a number of their players are developing into very handy performers at the same time. The coaching staff also know exactly what they're doing and should also be congratulated on what they've achieved. With Cobain now racing through the numbers, the 100 partnership was up. A 5th 4 to go with his 2 sixes took the number 3 to his half-century off his 28th delivery. Another excellent effort from a man who on his day is as thrilling to watch as any other player on the circuit. Klinger's first maximum arrived in the 18th over, a moment when he just decided to have a go at absolutely everything, confidently picking the correct shot to bring him his runs. He took Paul Walter for a couple of 4s to start the penultimate over, and then cleared the rope for a second time. Suddenly, another personal T20 ton was a possibility. Alas for him, he lost the strike in the last over, not that that would have bothered him one bit, as Cobain hit 2 6s and a 4 off the last 3 balls of the innings, Gloucestershire racing past 200, with 34 runs coming from the last 2 overs and an incredible 81 from the final 5. It was an assault which saw the home team conclude their innings on 212 for 1, Klinger with 95 from 57 balls with 13 4s and 2 6s, and Cobain an exhilarating 69 off 35 with 6 4s and 4 6s. Klinger now has 517 runs in this competition, Cobain 457. The challenge was far too great for the Eagles, who lost Kishan Vellani to the 4th ball of the reply as he watched the delivery from Matt Taylor rip out one of his stumps. 1 for 1 became 18 for 2 when Tom Westley gave Taylor his 2nd wicket of the game and his 13th in this tournament this year. Graham Van Buren with the simple catch, which had the visitors in very early trouble. Even more so when Bopara gave Benny Howell a wicket in his first over. It wasn't Howell at his best, but he does have a handy habit of picking up important wickets. Bopara on his way for 8. Then we had a moment of controversy. Ryan Tenduscarter could not believe it when he saw the finger raised to give him run out. He let the umpire and the sizable crowd know of his disappointment as he left the field, swishing his bat in anger after making only a single run. Nick Brown had tried to keep things going for his team at the top of the order, but when he picked out Chris Dent in the deep off Howell to go for 27, the Eagles had lost their wings on 58 for 5. Halfway through their reply, they were actually ahead of Gloucestershire in terms of runs on the board, and with Daniel Lawrence and Ashar Zaidi looking in good nick, the game was not quite over with yet, although Gloucestershire were, of course, huge favourites to complete 2 wins at the festival over these opponents. Once Lawrence, with 35 runs to his name, was held well in the deep by Cobain, the match was as good as over. Essex left on 110 for 6 midway through the 13th over. That became 122 for 7 6 balls later as Howell moved to the top of the wicket-taking charts in this season's competition with 20 now. He ended here with figures of 3 for 28. James Foster and Graham Napier just about kept the game alive by adding 26 runs for the 8th wicket. But when the former hit Andrew Tye to Van Buren to fall for 27, the band in one of the bars at the ground could start tuning up and get ready for their gig. Howell added the run out of Walter to his stats this year, Essex finishing nowhere near in the end on 182 for 9. This was another very comprehensive victory for a confident team which is currently very much in form. Gloucestershire took this contest by 30 runs to move 4 points clear at the top of the South Group, with one game left to play against Middlesex in Bristol on Friday, July the 29th. By then, they should have already confirmed their home quarter-final tie, as they now just wait for a result or two to go their way.